Hey, it's Mr. Mabry, and we're going to do a quick overview of the geologic time scale. You're going to want to copy this whole diagram down into your notes so you can get a big picture view of how the Earth has been created all the way to this present day, over 6 billion years in about 4 or 5 minutes. Here we go. The first era we're going to talk about is the Precambrian time period. This is a super boring time period for most people, but I think it's one of the most exciting. Even though over here it looks like it's just a little piece of the puzzle, that is a lie. In actuality, this covers over 3 billion years, which means if I drew this to scale, the Precambrian would go all the way up to about 88% of the entire time the Earth's been around, and the remaining 12% right here would be all of these things crammed into 12%. That's crazy. So what happened during the Precambrian? Well, all this dust and debris was flying around in outer space and sort of glommed together due to gravity and intermolecular forces out in space. And as it spun around the sun, the moon was kicked off, and all these heavy metals were sinking into the Earth's core, and eventually we have land masses, and we have volcanic activity, we have meteors hitting from outer space, until eventually, some reason, bacteria was like, this sounds awesome. I'm going to come to life in these primordial old oceans. And the atmosphere was stinky. It was full of all sort of noxious fumes, but especially methane, a gas we don't have today. And as time went on, just billions of years, even with this bacteria, it was setting the stage for life. And life came about as we transitioned to our next stage, the Paleozoic, or early life. And an event occurred called the Cambrian explosion. And it wasn't a bad explosion, it was a good explosion. It was an explosion of all of these guys into the world. And all of a sudden bacteria was no longer the only ones in the ocean. There was fish in the ocean, and there were amphibians in the ocean, and then on land there was finally land plants occurring, and insects, and by the end there was even reptiles. And as this was occurring, all these land masses that were being formed from the crust were starting to come together to form this huge supercontinent that you and I know as Pangaea. So that was forming during the Paleozoic. By the end, though, something crazy happened. This extinction event we call the Permian extinction occurred, and 90% of all living things was just wiped out. We're not totally sure how this happened. We think it might have been due to an ice age occurring at the time that caused sea levels to drop. Maybe it was Pangaea forming. We're not exactly sure. There was oxygen levels in the atmosphere that were fluctuating. But this ushered in a new age we call the Mesozoic age, or Middle Age. And during that age, the reptiles really came to flourish. And this is that classic age of dinosaurs that you think about. It was tropical by the middle of the era, and Pangaea started to break up into these larger supercontinents, but then by the end, a huge meteorite came and blasted into Mexico, threw all this debris into the air, and what we know is that the dinos didn't make it. And so a bunch of them died off 65 million years ago, which ushered us into our final age, the Cenozoic age. And this is an age where mammals really came to flourish. Birds also began to be more predominant, though mammals and birds were both present here. A lot of grazing mammals in the grasslands came to be and spread throughout the world, and the continents moved to their modern and current locations where they are today. The one thing worth noting, you might be asking, well, where's humanity in this history of the Earth? Well, we're at the very, very top. I mean, we came in a second ago, about 100 to 160,000 years ago. Which is nothing. Most of Earth's history got along just fine by itself over the last 6 billion years. Thanks for watching.